Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back to Fallen London. Today we are going to be looking at February's exceptional story, The Fair Unknown. A curious personal advertisement catches your eye in the Morning Gazette. A man named Reynard of Hollow Street is looking for assistance in an affair of the heart. I worry that I'm losing my dear companion. He is a surgeon in the Doubters Hospice, but I fear that his latest researches are leading him to a very dangerous place. A place that I can't follow. A final note catches your eye. Desired qualities: familiarity with a red-handed woman or experience wielding a lance. The address is nearby. Why do you respond to such an advertisement? We don't know anything about the red-handed woman, but our dreams suggest a connection. In sleep, you have glimpsed something of a chessboard. The description in the Gazette has tugged on some half-remembered memory. Or you possess skill in arms. Perhaps you don't meet the desired qualities in the advertisement, but your strength and daring should more than make up for this. Well, let's go with our dreams connection. The address on Hollow Street is at the poorer end of the district. It is a terraced house, divided into a half-dozen flats. Reynard lives on the uppermost, in two cramped rooms that are crowded with objects that are surprisingly beautiful given their surroundings. Statues of angels and knights and medieval kings. Between the accoutrements of his profession and the lattice of scars visible on his shirt collar, it is clear that Reynard is a Menace Eradicator. His smile, though warm, comes rarely. His eyes, like his address, are hollow. "It's my Thomas," he explains. "He's always been a model of restraint, but recently he's made a new friend. An antiquarian, an expert in medieval tournaments. I'm not worried about him straying, he's not the sort. It's something far worse. I tasted honey on his lips. After that, I'm afraid I did take a look at his surgical notebook. It's completely filled with the same doodle over and over. A crowned woman with red hands." He listens to your recollections of your dream of the chessboard and grimaces. "Well, I'm no Dr. Shlomo, but that does not sound ideal." Whatever it is Thomas got himself involved in, he won't tell me. He's always been private, even with me. Till now, I have always respected this, but his pursuit of whatever this is scares me. If it's not too much to ask, would you mind looking into all this for me?" Reynard sighs, concerned. "If it's nothing or an affair, it's not my place to know, but if he's in trouble, I want to help." Reynard outlines his lover's schedule. His hours are late, but his routine is like clockwork. Anticipating his whereabouts is as easy as sleeping. So we have three options here. We can infiltrate a honey den. Thomas has been keeping late hours in a notorious den off Flowerdean Market. Perhaps someone there knows what it is he's been dreaming. Or we can spy on the winsome antiquarian, a medievalist of middling repute. Thomas has been spending hours at the antiquarian's comfortable townhouse in Blithenhale. He never receives uninvited guests, so you'll have to find your own way in. Or we can just straight up speak to Thomas. He may be more forthcoming to a stranger than a lover from whom he's keeping secrets. You have a 100% chance to do all of these, so it is literally, which one do I want to do the most? I'm probably just going to talk to him. You find Thomas in his office in the Doubters Hospice. You recognise a few of the ornaments, knights and angels, mirrors of the ones in Reynard's rooms. He listens to your inquiries without interruption, but his jaw clenches as soon as you need to mention Reynard. "I knew he'd interfere. He's stubborn as a mule. That job of his is case in point. Has he shown you his wound? He imagines I'll just let him carry on until he keels over. Or we ship him off to Venderblight. He stands and gathers up his apron and surgeon's tools. He knows I'm a damn good doctor, but won't take my professional advice. Still, something can be done, and I mean to do it. Good day. He brushes past you, returning to his work. Well, let's try and infiltrate a honey den then. The den is insalubrious. Punters with amber smiles languish on sticky, sweet-stained silk, eyes glazed. They wait to be transported by dreams of somewhere kinder than here. You keep to the margins until you overhear a conversation about a great lady and her ruby-red gloves. A group gather around a clay pot and dab honey on each other's dry lips. You slip in beside them and claim a spoonful of your own. You walk across a field of crimson cloth. Tents and pavilions rise under the bright sun. Knights in scarlet and white salute you as they pass on their way to the lists. From the stands, a woman wearing gloves, clotted with rubies, presides. You wake, head muggy, and the den emptying out. Best search elsewhere. I guess we'll be spying on the winsome antiquarian. The townhouse is more of a mansion, sitting smug and bloated at the top of its street. A horror of neo-Gothic architecture. It advertises its occupants' interests without a scruple of good taste. You case the house for long enough to gain an understanding of the servants' schedules before making your move. The winsome antiquarian is not a beloved employer, and his security is subsequently lax. You sneak in as he takes dinner. A handsome elderly man with a long white hair and emerald eyes. In an upstairs study, beneath a reproduction of the Lady and the Unicorn, you discover correspondence between Thomas and the antiquarian. It appears Thomas has been seeking instructions on the medieval art of the joust, its forms, techniques, and requirements. You replace the letters and make your escape. There are other avenues of investigation to pursue. Okay, we've done all we can. We need to return. Reynard. You speak of what you've found. You've barely mentioned Thomas's correspondence with the antiquarian about jousting when Reynard interrupts. Why would he be interested in that? Reynard runs a hand through his thick mop of hair. He can't afford a horse. Even polo is a rich man's game down here. You describe the honey dream, and Reynard shudders. Sounds a bad lot. Is that what he's planning? To leave? For that place where I can't follow? He winces. But why would he want to enter such a tournament? You mention the wound, and Reynard goes still. Abruptly, he begins to pull at the fastenings on his shirt. Within moments, he's revealed an ugly lattice of scar tissue covering his chest, and a deep wound opposite his heart. It seeps with faint, viric light. It's not as bad as it looks. I made a nasty enemy in the marshes a year ago. I survived. It won't kill me yet, but it's incurable, he grimaces. I've received very definite medical advice there, he sighs. But Thomas knows better. So does Thomas mean to enter a tournament in Parabola, Kingdom of the Is Not? Reynard buttons his shirt back up and coughs politely. Well, I'm sorry for wasting your time. It seems I need to have a conversation with my... He stops as the clock on the wall chimes 11. Thomas should be back by now. He's always home at 10 on Thursday. You don't think he's already entered this tournament? No, of course he has. He curses and then recovers himself. He gives you a hopeful look. I don't suppose you mind sticking around. I think I need to have a talk with a professional. And then I suspect I still need assistance reaching Thomas. So we can receive a professional consultation. Thanks to his work as a Menace Eradicator, Reynard has a silverer in his debt. Now seems the opposite time to call in a favour. The clock on the wall scythes the small hours of the morning into chunks of waiting. At last, the bell sounds in the hallway. A formidable woman, a silverer, strides into the parlour. She answers Reynard's questions in clipped tones. You speak of the Red-Handed Queen. She hosts the Tournament of Rubies, where champions from across Parabola compete to win a boon. She tucks her gloved hands in her pockets to hide the tremor. I would not wish for anything from that lady. Any favour she grants is conditional. It affects permanent. Reynard curses. Oh, Thomas, does he think I can be cured in dream with some boon? I have made my peace with my injury. We have enough time together. Wasting it in a joust is... He sighs. There is a further wrinkle, she says. Though any may enter the tournament, the Red-Handed Queen associationally has a favourite among the competitors. If Thomas has captured her interest, she will do everything in her power to see him triumph. The rules of the tournament are as she decides. And what is the reward for victory? Reynard asks, his expression bleak. The Queen will reward her champion with a boon. The victor may ask, but she decides the terms. The silverer says. Her tone is detached but sympathetic. The Queen always grants a boon, whether the winner wishes it or not. Reynard is silent for a moment, then turns to you. Right then, no time to waste. Looks like we have a trip ahead of us. Okay, let's consult Reynard. Why does he need you? Will there be recompense? The silverer sits and thumbs quietly through a romance novel while you consult Reynard. It seems my errant knight has decided to try and save me by receiving the favour of some unknown nightmare, Reynard says, frowning. Well, sod that. I didn't ask him to, and I don't want him to, so allow me to propose an alternate course of action. You and he will both enter the tournament. The structure of the tourney is tiered, but always results in 2 finalists. All you need to do is ensure that you and he are the last ones standing. Whoever wins will receive the Queen's boon, ensuring that Thomas is in no position to make any deals with the Queen. And how do you guarantee such an outcome? Reynard smiles. Well, we're in luck. I have a plan. Reynard means for you to enter the Tournament of Rubies. Reynard pulls a copy of Penceforth's Liber Parabolorum from a bookshelf. Required reading for any Eradicator worth their salt. He thumbs through the book. Here, the Augate Stags of the Oncewood, the fastest short-distance beast of burden in all known Parabola. He closes the book with a snap and smiles. With such an advantage over mere horses, how could we lose? Of course, we need to reach them, but I have faith in my old colleague to get us there. He gives the Silverer a hopeful look. But we can ask the Silverer to lead you to the stags. She has listened without interrupting. She knows what is needed. You'll be occupied for some time. He nods. Then we are done. My debt to you is paid. She approaches a hand mirror in the small bathroom that Reynard and Thomas share. Carefully, she places it above the bath, which she fills with water. She places a candle before the glass so it is reflected in both the mirror and the bath water below. She pours an oil that smells of petrichor over the bath water so that it takes on an oily sheen. In a moment, the surface of the water is clear as glass. you can make out the faintest fringe of gold-tipped woods on the edge of the reflection. Reynard enters the water, disappearing into Parabola. You follow after. The silverer's ungloved hand closes the glass behind you, leaving a few drops of blood to drip into the water after you. Once there was something, perhaps one day there will be again. You have entered Parabola, Empire of Dreams. And here we are in the Once Wood. We've been here before, I feel. You find yourself standing on the fringe of a thick forest. The needles of the trees are dark gold. Flakes of white, grey fall from a brooding sky. On close inspection, these are of ash rather than snow. It should be cold, says Reynard, but it is beautiful. Oh, I wish my Thomas could see it. He sighs and heads towards the trees. Can't be helped. Let's find these beasties. So we can search for the aureate stags. According to the Liber Parabolarum, the aureate stags can outrun any beast that walks the known terrain of Parabola. Best tread softly to avoid startling them. You trudge through the ashfall under a golden canopy of the wood. The trees grow so closely together that once you are among them, you can barely see more than a foot ahead. Only the occasional crackle of gold interrupts the darkness. You spend several hours trudging through the ash before there is a faint glimmer through the trees. It is a herd of gold-pelted stags. Their skin is soft as milk, their antlers crowned in a corona of light like candle flame. Reynard stops dead in his tracks as he sees them. I am not worthy, he mutters, bowing his head. But I shall have to be, for Tom's sake. Several of the stags step forward as they become aware of you, entirely unafraid. As they near, you spot that they are fitted with bridle and bits. Someone has tamed this herd already. Reynard approaches the largest stag, which lowers its head to allow him to stroke the hair beneath its crown. As he does so, you spot a single silver stag hanging back from the herd. Its crown is broken, its light dim. It is a shadow of the others. So we can claim an aureate stag, a magnificent specimen, bronze flanked and crowned in burning gold. Such a steed all but guarantees victory in the tournament. Your choice here will open opportunities at the tournament. It may, however, be considered cheating, should such things concern you. We can claim the broken tinned stag, a silver runt, broken crowned and midnight-eyed. Its coat is sheer silver, and its crumpled antlers are seared with moonlight. Now, this is less likely to be helpful, but it is a fairer choice. I also, personally, I prefer silver to gold, unless the way it looks. I like gold. Gold's money. But, I'm drawn towards seared with the moonlight, kind of sold the deal here. I'm going to go with the silver runt. The silver stag bleats softly as you approach, its eyes wide. It permits you to stroke its flank and kneels so that you can mount it. Reynard, who has already mounted his stag, laughs. Looks like that one has chosen you. He reaches down to pat the flank of his steed. A noise draws your attention back to the forest. A woman, so tall her head brushes the canopy, and with skin of beaten gold, steps out from the trees. She carries a shepherd's crook and an orb, both of which seem to have been fitted to her hands, like metal cast for a statue. The woman's mouth is fixed in a brilliant smile. She makes no move to come closer. She show us the way? Reynard whispers before offering her the courtliest bow he can manage while riding a giant stag. I say, can you take us to the Tournament of Rubies? Rather a big place, I imagine. Very red. The golden woman slowly lifts one hand with her shepherd's crook. She beckons you forward. We can journey to the Tournament of Rubies. You have steeds and a guide. All that remains is the arrival. You follow the woman through the ash falls as it rains down over the golden oncewood. Towering above the stags, she pushes through the trees as though they were no more than mist. The landscape flickers and melts around you, gold running into verdigris and cobalt until the colours trickle away into a silvery white landscape. On the far horizon you can make out a splash of scarlet, like a stain. At last the golden shepherd stops. With one long creak she points ahead. "The tourney," Reynard says, his voice low with wonder. "Thank you, my lady." The golden woman does not respond. She turns back. The wood swallows her whole. Scarlet tents dapple the ground like an outbreak of mushrooms. A great stadium rises, crenellated and turreted so that its outer walls resemble a medieval castle. It is surrounded by a throng of scarlet tents. Even the ground is red, covered with swathes of crimson velvet. The sky is not lit by the Parabolan sun. It resembles a painted backdrop, scarlet, flecked with storm clouds. There is a hubbub of visitors, tigers and panthers attired for the lists, a few serpents in red and white hues, dreaming Londoners, some dressed like medieval courtiers, others as medieval knights. For every courtier and every competitor, you notice they share something in common. Their costumes are in red or black or white. But we need to enlist in the tournament. You cannot compete unless you do. You and Reynard make your way to a red and white checkered tent in the centre of the grounds. Inside, a man, mitred in a red bishop's hat, is peering over a great leather-bound volume. The Knight Marshal, who adjudicates the tournament. The man frowns as he hears your request. 2 more mystery knights at this late hour? The Knight Marshal spies your steeds tethered in the field beyond his tent. He sighs. "Very well, I shall enter you. The Queen will forgive you, and me, when she sees you on those." He produces his tome and asks you to write your name on the vellum. You need to speak to the Knight of Arms for heraldry. She will see you suitably outfitted for the fight. He gestures to the tent nearby. As you step out of the Marshal's tent, Reynard lets out a cry. Approaching, seated on a hulking midnight blue wolf, is Thomas. He smiles. "Good, isn't it? A gift from the Queen. Seems she took pity when I arrived without a mount of my own." I just want to point out, I'd quite like a midnight blue wolf. Just gonna put that there. Oh, let's greet Thomas. He gives you an ironic wave from atop his steed. "Reynard, and you've brought a friend. The one with all the questions. How nice." Thomas adjusts his position. The huge, shaggy wolf compiles without fuss, and is rewarded with a pat for its trouble. Its tongue lolls out. Thomas appears to have it under very good control. "Come on, Tom," Reynard says, worry edging out of his usual bonhomie. "You don't need to do this for me. Let's just watch and enjoy ourselves. What do you say?" Thomas shakes his head sadly. "Afraid the Queen's rather expecting me to joust. I'd hate to disappoint, but if you're worried you can always try and knock me out." He gives Reynard a thin smile. You are supposed to be the monster hunter, after all. So, before we choose our heraldry, I think I am going to have to end the episode here. It's been going on for quite a while. This is incredibly interesting. As a man who likes medieval times and combat, this should be very interesting to see how it goes, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. And as always, I'll see you next time.